Good morning. Welcome back to the Terror Dome. We would like to thank you for your likes, your shares, your comments. Please continue to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And we're going to move right into today's episode. We're still piggybacking off of the whole child support episode. Right now we're going to talk to this young lady, Mrs. Dominique, and we're going to look at child support from a female perspective. So, let's go. Welcome. Good morning, Miss Dominique. How are you?
Thank you for having me, and good morning.
We want to thank you for even coming on and even sharing your side of the story. Not your side, but your perspective from child support.
Mm-hmm.
So, going into the topic, there had to be a breakup of some sort to get the child support.
Absolutely.
So how was the relationship prior to the breakup?
So, my children's father, I have 2 kids by him. Well, I only have 2 kids, so let me just go there. I have 2 teenage girls. They have the same dad, and they're 11 months apart.
Now that is a good thing.
Yes. So for clarification, so I met him when I was 18. And he's 5 years older than me, so he was 23. And he was my first love. So I'm going to say it was a very intense type love. Like, not necessarily toxic, not necessarily healthy. It was just, we were young, so it was like intense. That's the best way I could put it. He was, like I said, he was my first love, and like everyone says, like, you don't really love like that, you don't love anyone like you love your first love.
You always
which
chasing
is
it.
Right, which is probably why, like when we did break up, it soured, because that intensity that was like once like positive, because energy is neither created nor destroyed.
Exactly.
So we went from, having this real intense relationship to having like a real intense breakup.
Wow. Okay.
So it was one of those things where we were together for 10 years.
Ooh.
And I was faithful, and he was faithful too with me and all his other relationships. he was faithful to me and all his other girlfriends.
Wow. That's a colorful way to say it.
Yeah, he was a good man. Like when he was present, he was present.
Okay.
And I guess they could probably say the same thing.
He was present over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so when we were breaking up, it was like like something like people say, like if you were together for 10 years, you was breaking up for 5.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty. It was like once we added children into the mix, I think that things changed for me, because it was like, I could. Wait a minute. What type of language can I get?
It don't matter.
Oh, okay. Because I don't want to be disrespectful.
No, you good.
Like so it's like, like I'm young, and I really wanted to be with him. Like, as far as I knew, like this was the man I was going to marry.
Wow.
So, I was young. I got pregnant with my first daughter at 23. Had at 24. Then very quickly had my youngest at 25. But it's like once we started adding children into the mix, it became different for me, because it's like I can't deal with this shit, and I got more important things to worry about now. Like it's one thing for me to just like all right, okay, that's what you're doing. But it's like, once I started having kids, I started looking at things differently. I'm getting older, and it was like I'm tired. Like I just got tired of that, like, yeah.
Question, were there signs, because a lot of people say, people saw this coming, they just ignored it. Were there signs that there were other happy relationships outside of yours?
So I'm gonna say this. I can't necessarily say that I am completely blameless in a situation. So I'll say this. I was young. I didn't realize necessarily what it all took to maintain a healthy relationship. So I'll take ownership of that. Because when I was young, I just thought I just needed to show up. Like, I'm here. And I mean, And I think if a lot of women are honest, a lot of us initially think that. Some of us still do. Like, it's an honor to be with me. It is an honor to be with me. But at the same time, like, a relationship is just like it takes two people.
It takes two to tango.
Yeah, so there were definitely, if I am completely honest, I probably should have never gotten with him.
Wow.
Or I should have, instead of something that women do, it's like, it's one guy and I'm focusing on him. Like, that's it. Like, I was locked in. Like, once he said he liked me, I'm like, oh, this is forever.
That's the one.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't need to interview any more candidates. He has the job. Like, this is it. Like, once he said that, I was like, oh, okay. Like,
and at 18, you can kind of expect that.
Yeah, and
really
at 18, right. Don't know anything. He was just like, I like you. And I'm like, yep, so your last name is? Because I need to know what mine's going to be. Like, that's pretty much how that went. But there were definitely signs, yes. So, like, was he cheating on me throughout? I'm going to say probably. I'm going to say probably, if I'm honest. I don't know if there was ever a time when he wasn't doing something. And let me just clarify this. Cheating to me is anything that you do behind my back.
Okay.
So if you're doing something behind my back that you think is going to hurt my feelings, you're cheating.
Okay.
And that includes Netflix. Like, if we watching a series together and you you've cheated.
Watch the next episode.
Yeah, you have betrayed the trust.
but you know what? With that being said, I think it's good too for people to set down ground rules.
I agree.
And what their expectations are.
I agree.
Because cheating is something people think of. You didn't went over here and just got in the hotel room.
Right. So yeah. So you know, men is like, well, you know, I only got some neck action. I didn't like. Some men don't think that's cheating. Well, to me, it is. Because exactly. Because if I tell you I only got some, he didn't like. If you were like, what?
You may burn the house down.
What? He did what? Yeah, that's all he did. So
like get over it.
So what? Like, you know.
I do like how
So to answer your question, yes, there were several red flags. Okay. Like, it was like a whole bunch of flags. Like, the referees were on the field, okay? They was throwing penalty flags. Yeah. False start. They was doing all that. The referees, it was like, Dominique, like, come on.
Oh my goodness. Do we need to play this back?
Yeah. Like, we got to go in the booth on that. We gotta go.
Oh my goodness.
We don't know if that was a catch or not. We don't know. We don't know if that was a catch.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. It is hilarious, but it's good to see that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can laugh about it now. I can laugh about it now, yeah.
So we're moving forward. The breakup came. How you said the breakup got a little rough.
It did.
Maybe not physically, maybe emotionally rough.
Okay.
So how did you get to child support?
So those flags. They were ever so present. I'm gonna say that, like, towards the end of our relationship, he was, I think he was like emotionally checking out.
Okay. Wow.
In defense of him, I'm gonna say that I really think that he really wanted us to work.
Okay.
Because even now we kind of have a contentious relationship.
Wow.
And I think that still stems from him not really healing from how we separated, how, you know, or our separation period. Okay. I'll put that like that. So I'm going to say for him, I really think that he thought that it was going to work. I was just going to, I don't want to say accept or get over it, but like we would eventually get over it, or like at some point I would stop, like, hey, can you stop saying shorty? Like, I'm gonna just stop asking. I'm gonna just stop making the request. So his behavior was becoming like I said, he was emotionally checking out, and I want to say he was becoming more careless. And then to me, he was also becoming more irrational, going back to that intensity. So it was kind of like a situation where it was like unsafe for me.
Okay. And to add kids.
Yeah, right. Then to add kids like this, and it's like he became unpredictable.
Wow.
So it was. I'm trying to think. I was talking to my cousin by marriage, who at the time was a lawyer, and I was just explaining to him like because everyone knew in my family like like he wasn't the one except me.
They were the one throwing the flags.
Yeah, right. That he wasn't the one except me. I was the only one that was, like, and I'm going to stick beside him. Like, that was me. I was the originator of that. I'm going to stick beside him. Like, this is your man.
The original rider.
Yeah, I was there. So I was talking to him because, we were just having a conversation about how things just went from, like, sugar to shit. And he was explaining to me that he was like, well, in the state of Maryland, this is what kids, he was like, both parents, like you have joint custody. Someone has to file for, sole physical or legal custody. So other than that, he can legally take your kids out of school and without saying anything to you. And he could keep them. Like, it's not kidnapping, they're his kids.
They're his kids.
And this became particularly dangerous to me because my oldest daughter has sickle cell.
Okay.
And at the time, like I said, his behavior was becoming very erratic. And I was trying to, like, find middle ground with him. So when we were breaking up and he was free to see whomever. Like, he never stopped.
Papa was a rolling
Yeah,
stone.
he really was. We tried to have different agreements before we even got to that custody place, before we got to child support. Okay. So one of the agreements that we had was like, he was like, you just tell me what they want and what they need and I'll buy it.
Okay.
And that worked until it didn't.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that worked. Like, dude, like my kids are 11 months apart. Like the Pampers and the you know what I mean, and the pull-up game. Like, when you talk about hurting my pockets, bruh. Bruh. I was out there getting ready to like researching how to make a meth lab, like, because these Pampers and these pull-ups got me. They got me. On top of that, like daycare, like what?
And then regular life bill.
Yeah, right, because we gotta eat at some point, right? Eat. Yeah. So that worked until it didn't. That was one agreement. So I was like, why don't we try this? I'm like, again, my kids are toddlers, so their most expensive expense at that time was Pampers and pull-ups. And I had a pretty decent job. I was working in corporate America, doing data entry at T. Rowe Price. Oh, wow. So I was doing fairly good. So I was like, if you could,
still expensive.
Listen. So I was like, if you could just help me out with the Pampers and the pull-ups. I'm like, if I can depend on you for just $200, right, a month.
Wow.
Mind you, this is the sweetheart deal. Listen to what I offered him. I said if you could, because I really was just looking for relief from them pull-ups and Pampers. Okay, so I was like, you can just give me $200 a month. I said take them every other weekend because I needed some me time, because like I said, I was working in corporate America and then I was going home to be a mother to toddlers. Like it was a lot. And I said, if you $200 a month, you take them every other weekend and every Tuesday, because at the time, the 5 Mile House had dollar crabs.
Yes.
I went there on a humble, and I was like, I could do this. Like, I could have $25 and make out,
and
right?
enjoy your life.
Yeah, right. And I was like, if I could just do that, like, once a week and have it every other weekend to myself, because I really wanted the relationship to be cultivated. It really wasn't, like I said, I just wanted him to pay for pull-ups and Pampers. And just give me some relief. That young man told me, because he was bitter, he found out I was seeing someone, I couldn't make him do anything that he didn't want to do, and I needed to ask the dude that I was seeing. So I said,
you went petty.
Cool, I got you. So I couldn't really, so I was talking to my cousin about that. Like I offered them this, and he was like, well, he was telling me about custody. You know, he was like, he technically can just pick them up if he wants to and just take them. And my fear was that our daughter was having some health issues at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't want him to spike me to come, you know, and pick up our kids. And then, you know, she gets sick and he don't know what to do. And then it get bad, you know, heaven forbid, you know.
The worst, yes.
Right. So I was like, oh, I'm doing this as a protection measure for my kids. So I filed for custody.
Okay.
It wasn't like I went straight to Charles Street. I was like, I need custody of my kids. So I was filing for a sole physical, meaning that they live with me and he would get visitation, and also one illegal because, like I said, my daughter had sickle cell, and I did not want to have to wait, like if there was a treatment issue thing that I gotta find out where this joker is so that they could do some life-saving measures or something like that. Or even if that wasn't the case, I didn't even want to even think about that being on the table.
Exactly.
So when we went to court, and that took like that was like, I want to say like a year-long process. When I filed for custody. He didn't fight me on physical custody.
Okay.
He just did not like the idea that I would have legal custody, because legal custody didn't just cover medical. It also like covered, like if I wanted to take them and leave, I could, and he wouldn't say anything. I could determine, like, you know, what type of school and like make all those type of important decisions without his input. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was really doing it for the health piece, but he wasn't really making sound decisions. So
all that should be your responsibility.
Yeah, all right. So so that was like the only thing that he fought me for. But it was like, even with that, he half-assed it, because the only reason why I even got legal custody, because he didn't show up to like 2 of the hearings. And let me tell you something. I know that men would be like, the system is geared towards women. He had some real friendly judges and masters, okay? Because they be like, can you call him? Because he be late. And that's something else. He late showing up to court, and the judge like, you want to call him? And I'm like, I guess. Like, you know, so I'm calling him like, yo, like, they get ready to give me everything I want. You better come down here quick. Like, I'm calling him.
Wow.
I was that type of baby mother. That was me. He's showing up with his girlfriend. Hey, Cheryl, how you doing? All right. Yeah, you go over there with him. Okay. Your Honor.
Wow.
That's the chick he was cheating on me with. She is. He want the evidence.
I'm about to say, he didn't want the evidence.
He want the evidence. He don't want the evidence.
Which shows irrational. Wow.
But yeah, he's very, like, even now it's still very contentious. He is not thrilled.
So a deeper question, one you may know and one you definitely will know.
Mm-hmm.
What is his relationship with his father, and what is your relationship with your father?
So easily. No, so this is easy. He's named after his father, and that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's a junior. His father's a senior, and I think I may have seen his father once. I think he may have seen his father twice.
Wow.
Or 3 times, because he had to. I think he might have been there at birth, then at 15.
The next day when he woke up.
Yeah, right. And then you know, he's 15, and then he's like, hey, this is, you know, my friends and family call me Nikki. Hey, this is Nikki, and I'm like, who that man? Who that? Like, Harpo, who this woman? Who is this? Who is this? Like, that's my father. I was like, nigga.
Where you come from?
like me and you gotta talk, because I didn't know you had one of those.
Which is not good.
It's not. So my dad I actually come from a 2-parent household. My parents were married. They did divorce when I was in the 7th grade, so I'm gonna say like 96, 97.
Okay.
And my father was killed by a drunk driver when a day before. Huh?
I think you did tell me.
Yeah, the day before my 22nd birthday, my father was killed by a drunk driver.
Wow.
So before then, me and my father, we had some struggles because my father was battling addiction at some point. I want to say, which was why my parents divorced. Other than that, they would have just stayed married. But after he got his life together, we were good.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a good relationship with my dad.
And the reason I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was like, this is some like the beginning was good, the middle was fuzzy, but before he left, me and him was right.
And the reason why I asked that because with the children's father, you can see how he's imitating what he received from his dad.
Yes. So, and that's the thing. So, my expectations, I have the privilege, the honor, the luxury, whatever. I have amazing, dope ass men in my life. I know how a woman is supposed to be treated. So here we go, fellas. Like, check this out, real talk. Don't ever approach a real woman about what you bring to the table. Because check this out. Real men just bring the table, and the expectation is that the woman knows what to do with it.
Thanks. See.
Okay?
Yes,
Here we go. Don't ask me what you bring to the table. What the table made out of. Because what the table made out of won't depend what I